It's a pleasure to be here at the MSM headquarters today, sir. You were appointed Group Chief Executive Officer of MSM Malaysia Holdings in February 2021. Looking back over the years, what would you say have been the milestone moments and achievements during your time as the company's Group CEO? Also, how do you think your previous experiences helped you in leading MSM Malaysia?
Yeah, thank you for that. Since February 21, when I first took office, and I've understood the necessary objectives to turn around MSM, so I've outlined three main focus areas, namely the transformation of MSM. Secondly, the sugar controlled ceiling price, which requires an address, and the mitigation of MSM Johor refinery. In terms of transformation, I think my experience in the MNC, which was over a span of about 30 years, helped in bringing about a different work culture in MSM. And we've stressed upon safety, quality, integrity, diversity, and also sustainability. So these are corporate charters that are not just on walls, plastered on walls or embedded in documents, but you have to live these corporate charters. Happy to say today that MSM has gone to a great extent in terms of transformation, and you can see that in the work culture of the MSM people. In terms of the addressing the controlled ceiling price of sugar, this is a 10-year-old price that doesn't work anymore. So there's an anomaly in the economics. In fact, we are the world's cheapest sugar. And I think government has understood, and we had to deal with three different governments. But finally, we've gotten there, and there's some industry assistance on the consumer segment. The other is mitigating MSM Johor refinery. It was not built on let's say an optimum manner in 2018. And we had to mitigate MSM Johor in terms of improving some of its equipment and production, as well as also people. So 50% are hardware attributes, and the other 50% would be the people.
Yes.
So I would say that today Johor has recorded its first, or rather historic profits in December last year,
Congratulations.
which they have never achieved in the last 4 years.
Well, fantastic. You've done really well, Tuan.
It's a team effort.
Yes. So what is it about MSM Malaysia's refined sugar that distinguishes it from other refined sugars on the market in terms of quality? At the same time, given the growing importance of ESG in markets today, how does MSM Malaysia ensure that its production process and supply chains all meet stringent ESG standards?
MSM produces premium quality sugar, measured as 45 ICAMSA, which is a global standard.
Okay.
And we have, in fact, today even differentiated even to a higher quality sugar called Gula Super. So Gula Super is, I like to simply put, is like your RON 97. And also that the normal sugar is the RON 95.
Okay.
So there are distinguishing specs
to
the sugar. And that's already part of the, let's say, the governing specs that is acknowledged by KPDN.
I see.
And in the international market, MSM sugar is known as a premium sugar, and there is a premium that is afforded in terms of price when we sell to customers. And I would say that on the ESG aspect, I think that there are two things that drives why we need to embed ESG in all our production and business, simply because of consumerism and also the environment. Yeah, so I think that this is super important, that you have to pay attention to the consumer needs. It's not just giving them choice, but also ensuring the nutrition and also in terms of food safety, besides quality. The other is on the environment, is that we source our sugars from sustainable mills and plantations. So we subscribe to the NDPE program, which is no deforestation and no people exploitation. So you see this on our logo.
I see.
You see this logo on our sugar packs.
I see. Is that here?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So, and this is a program that we work with Wilma Group.
What is the Wilma Group?
Wilma is the leading sugar player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They are a food commodity player.
Okay.
And so we have a strategic alliance with them in terms of our raw sugars.
I see. Oh, excellent. We understand that it used to be that Malaysia produces its own sugar and imports raw sugar to be refined locally. However, these days, a local sugar production has become negligible and the importation of refined sugar has also increased. No doubt, allowing for the increased import of refined sugar has affected local sugar refiners such as MSM Malaysia. Could you tell us how it has impacted you, Tuan, and the local market?
Well, in terms of production capacity in Malaysia, I think that we have sufficient volumes to meet any local demand. MSM has a effective design capacity of about 2 million tons, and our competition is about 600,000 tons. So we have an indigenous capacity of about 2.6 million tons. Malaysian market demand is only about 1.5 to 1.6 million tons a year. So there is really no need for importation. So this is where we have expressed our opinion and concerns and requests to the government to reduce the importation or maybe no importation at all. So I think that this is also necessary in terms of, I think every industry has to chip in to help strengthen the ringgit. So it is a no-brainer that when you import, you weaken the ringgit.
Correct.
So I think that this is where when you have local capacity, you should ensure and give priority to the local capacities.
Yeah. Is there even a reason why so much sugar has to be imported? Because we are producing so much here, like you are.
I think to a small extent, perhaps it may be allowable, but I think that government should control the floodgates.
Yeah, it shouldn't overwhelm the local production.
Yes.
So it has been said that the government's decision to issue for approved permits to import refined sugar was to meet public demand. Can you tell us that MSM Malaysia has the capacity and capability to meet the needs and wants of the rakyat, and in doing so reduce or even, eliminate to a certain point the need for imported refined sugar?
As far as local production is concerned, we have sufficient capacity. So we, I think locally, Malaysia has effective design capacity of about 2.6 million tons, of which 2 million tons is by MSM. So we serve two segments, consumer as well as industries. So for the consumer segment, we are a known popular brand, Gula Prai, 60 years. This is, by the way, our 60th year. And from the Kanta Data Insights survey, Gula Prai is the third most popular FMCG, F&B product after Maggi and Milo in terms of household penetration. And this is survey of 3 consecutive years since 2020, 21 and 22. And we believe we are still there for 23. So there's no need to really import sugars for the consumer side and as well for the industry side. So we have enough capacities to serve the industries, whether it's the SMIs or the big industries. And there are a couple of hundreds of them. And I think that the state of health of the local sugar industry, is necessary to ensure food security. Because in times of importation is never something secured. And in times of crisis, those exporters of the various origins would always switch off.
Yes. On that point, please tell us more about any efforts by MSM Malaysia to expand its upstream presence to sugar plantations, either locally or overseas.
I think recognizing that we are 100% raw sugar import-based type operation, I think it's logical for us to explore the possibility of having some upstream, if not completely serving our needs. But I think that we are looking into reviving a local, let's say, upstream industry as well as looking at potentially reverse investments in nearby regions. I think that we have to secure at least maybe 30 to 50% of our sugars through an upstream integration.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking at that, and I think that we have also the support of the Economic Planning Unit that we have presented these ideas, and they quite like it.
Yeah, good.
So I think that we'll try to see how we can get this moving.
Good, good. You have consistently, sir, called for the Malaysian government to increase the ceiling price for sugar, which is set at RM2.85 per kilogram for raw sugar and RM2.95 per kilogram for refined sugar. This is the lowest in the region. Please tell us, why is such an artificially low price for sugar bad for producers, retailers, consumers, and the market as a whole?
Well, I think that, as I mentioned, the RM2.85 for the coarse grain sugar and the RM2.95 for the fine sugar, this is a 10-year-old price, right? A 10-year-old price that doesn't work anymore. When I first came in, raw sugar was around 12 to 14 cents per pound on the ice market. Last year, we saw the raw sugars going up as high as 28 cents. So it's close to double.
Yeah.
And this is 80% of our input costs. So you can imagine the economics when you have 80% of your input costs doubling.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's a no-brainer that the economics doesn't work. And we have been bleeding in the consumer segment in the last 30 months. So this is where I think that certainly being the cheapest raw sugar, sorry.
It's okay. Okay, just careful.
Okay, so being the cheapest, in terms of retail price, doesn't help because our sugars are also slipping across borders.
The porous borders.
Yeah, so we have porous borders,
Yeah.
whether it's Indonesia, Philippines.
Yeah.
We know our sugars are being also sold in those neighboring regions.
Yeah.
So who does it really benefit?
And the price in Thailand, you were saying, is so much more expensive.
To give an idea, in Philippines, it's RM9 equivalent per kilo. Here we are RM2.85.
My God, that's a huge difference.
In Singapore, it's like today's exchange rate, it's about RM7.50 per kilo.
So it's more expensive in the Philippines
Yes.
than in Singapore. Strange.
Yes. So and in Thailand, it's even an exporter like Thailand, it's about RM3.60 to RM3.70 per kilo. Indonesia has recently increased its prices. It's about RM5.90 per kilo. So, and I think that even we've gone to compare with even Brazil, the world's largest exporter, who controls 70% of the global sugar, even in the Brazilian real equivalent, it's about RM3.50 to RM3.80 per kilo.
It's amazing that we've kept it so low.
Yeah, and to think that these countries, Brazil, Thailand, they have a very huge integrated upstream and also an energy program that works to their advantage in terms of cost savings.
Energy? What? I don't understand.
With plantations,
Uh-huh.
you can use the waste from plantations called bagas, and you can convert that into energy.
Oh, I see.
To offset your let's say if you were using gas for the refineries, then you can convert bagas into electricity to offset
That's interesting.
those energy bills. So they have all that advantage. Though despite all that economic advantage,
And it's still more expensive.
they are still more expensive than us.
We have done incredibly well then to keep it so low.
Yes, and in fact, it's in the industry in the last, I would say, since January 22, has been subsidizing the rakyat. So we have been loyally producing and being very patient. I always like to call the sugar industry as the most patient industry. So I think it's time that the anomalies in economics are addressed.
I see. Yeah. And so I'm sure that the government is working with you on this.
Yes, and I think we've got a very good practical government who understands business. And I think that the translation of industry requests has gotten positive traction. And I think the leadership of Mohammad, Prime Minister, I think is welcomed.
Finally, what are your hopes and aspirations, sir, for MSM Malaysia moving forward? Where do you see the company in the next 5 years?
Well, I see that MSM's vision is not just confined to sugar. So when you talk about food, I think that the space of food is where I think MSM can grow further. So I like to see MSM if I'm still leading MSM, is to go beyond sugar.
And where do you see that growth going?
Of course, not to be too specific in terms of course, we have certain sites on where we think potential opportunities, next opportunities. But I think if you stay in the essential food space and to stay midstream in the core expertise of MSM, I think that's what would probably be our sweet spot. Right. So picking up another commodity, working in terms of processing and the marketing and exports of it. So within our natural ecosystem, I believe that this is where MSM could grow further and unlock its potential. And you know that over the years, MSM has grown in the last 3 years, its market cap to now close to 500%. It was around 56 cents when I first came in. Today, I think it's around over 2 ringgit 70 cents.
That's an incredible growth.
Yes, and I think that is, we thank all the investors out there in the investing community. I think simply MSM has put forward a very transparent path moving forward. So I think that they understand the challenges and they understand also the effort in terms of mitigation and going forward.
Correct.
So there's no magic formula. I think that once you are, let's say, truthful and transparent and also honestly working hard towards the objectives, then I think that this is where the investing market fully understands, and as well as being a FTSE for good index. So we had that nice surprise last year when on December 14 to be exact, when we received a notice from Bursa Malaysia that MSM has been put on the FTSE for good index. So we are measured by Russell FTSE UK, of which Bursa Malaysia reference.
Yes.
So we have met the minimum threshold to be considered as an index company.
Excellent. Congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you.
For having made the transformative journey from the time you took it on board.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the transformation objectives.
One of your first key objectives.
Yes, exactly.
Well done.
Thank you.
Done. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say that we could add on?
Also, MSM is heading towards the digital space. So we've got a department that's heading this that was incepted, and I think that we've got to recognize that the IR 4.0 is here, and also it's going to be more advanced in the future, and that we have to also evolve fast enough. So we have a kind of a framework around IR 4.0 and going digital across all aspects of the business.
So that's making it more efficient, I guess?
Yeah, so it helps in terms of enhancing decision making and also reducing processing time. And where it's possible, it reduces the use of paper. So there's a sustainable part to it as well.
So does that mean that you're using artificial intelligence in your like in the farms, in the plantations? I've seen images of that, the sprays by
exactly
machines.
So in some places like Brazil, they've started to deploy AI to assist in the upstream. But here in MSM, for example, we have not yet deployed AI. That will be a next phase.
I see.
But we have gone smart in terms of, for example, smart contracts. So we have now what used to be, let's say, a 7-day processing in terms of churning out contracts and getting customers to countersign contracts.
I see.
It takes now a push of a button and a 1 or 2 day thing that and with no paper intervention at all.
Oh, that's good.
So those are some of the, let's say, smart applications that we have churned out.
Excellent.
As well as in the human resource space, which we call people and culture these days.
Yes.
We've also churned out going completely digital on this.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
You're doing all what's necessary for the greater good of growth for MSM.
Yes.
Anything you'd want to say to the government for in appreciation for the support or in terms of policies that you may want to work with them for future?
So as a responsible corporate citizen, I think that we also play a role in the Felda, in the Felda group. So being our ultimate beneficiary owner, they hold our shares through FGV. And I think that we also help in terms of community building within Felda. So the healthy state of MSM is important so that we can also churn out social benefits and public impact benefits for the various communities where we engage our in business.
Yes.